You know what I learned the hard way? When it's real love, you don't have to convince nobody to love you. You don't have to beg, plead, or perform. You don't have to chase what's meant to stay. And that's one of the hardest lessons life will ever teach you. Because when you love hard, you want people to love you back with that same energy. But the truth is, you can't make somebody ready for what they don't recognize the value of. See, a lot of folks are out here mistaking attention for affection. Somebody texts you at midnight, you start smiling at your phone like it's love. Nah, baby, that's not love, that's somebody bored. Love don't show up just when it's convenient. Love shows up when it counts. When you're sick, when you're low, when you're scared, when you ain't got the energy to smile, that's when real love steps in. Because real love wants to be there. You don't have to remind them to care. You don't have to train them on how to treat you. They just do it because it's who they are when it comes to you. I tell people all the time, love shouldn't feel like you're auditioning for the role of worthy. You shouldn't feel like you're constantly trying to prove your value just to earn someone's basic respect or time. If you got to chase them, beg them, convince them, or keep explaining your worth, it's not love, it's labor. And love was never supposed to be hard labor. Now, don't get me wrong, love takes effort, it takes communication, sacrifice, and growth. But there's a big difference between effort and begging. Effort is mutual, begging is one-sided. Effort means you both are building something together. Begging means you're doing the work alone, trying to pull somebody along who ain't trying to walk beside you. And when you do that, you lose yourself piece by piece, convincing yourself that one day they'll change, one day they'll see, one day they'll appreciate. But let me tell you, waiting for somebody to change so they can love you right, that's not patience, that's pain wearing hope's clothing. You can't teach someone to value what they've already decided to take for granted. You can't make a person appreciate a diamond if they're still playing with stones. Real love recognizes real value right away. It don't need a sales pitch. It don't need a presentation. You just being you, that's enough. But see, we live in a world where people glorify struggle love. They say, if it's real, it's going to be hard. No, if it's real, it's going to be worth it. There's a difference. Love isn't supposed to break you down. It's supposed to build you up. It should feel like peace, not pressure. And if every day feels like you're fighting for a place in someone's life, then you're not in love. You're in a competition you never signed up for. Let me tell you what I've seen time and time again. The moment you stop begging for love, that's when your peace comes back. That's when your glow comes back. Because love that's forced will always exhaust you, but love that's real will refresh you. It's like breathing. You don't even think about it. It just flows naturally. When it's genuine, it fits. You don't have to bend, twist, or shrink just to make it work. And here's something I want you to remember. The one meant for you won't play with your emotions like they're options. They won't go days without calling, only to pop up when they need something. They won't make you wonder where you stand. When it's real, it's consistent. Love without consistency is confusion, and confusion is not love. See, when you keep trying to convince somebody to stay, you end up betraying yourself just to keep the relationship alive. You start accepting less and less until you don't even recognize yourself anymore. You start saying things like, it's okay, at least they're trying. No, baby, that's not trying. That's tolerating. Trying means effort. Trying means accountability. Trying means showing up every day, not just when it's convenient. I know this one's going to sting for some of y'all, but listen, if someone really wants you, you won't have to remind them how to treat you. You won't have to beg for phone calls, affection, respect, or consistency. Because love doesn't hide, it doesn't play games. Love stands tall and says, I'm here, I choose you. And if you ain't hearing that loud and clear, you need to stop interpreting silence as effort. Too many people are living in almost relationships. You know the kind, almost commitment, almost communication, almost love. You're halfway happy, halfway broken, and all the way confused. You keep convincing yourself that maybe if you give a little more, love a little harder, wait a little longer, they'll finally give you what you deserve. But the truth is, if you got to beg for the basics, you'll never experience the blessings. You were not created to chase what's running from you. You were created to attract what's meant for you. The right person will never make you question your worth. They'll remind you of it every day. They'll show up in ways you didn't even know you needed. You won't have to ask them to treat you right, because that's just who they are. And let's talk about peace for a second. Because love without peace ain't love. It's chaos. You can't call someone love if it's constantly robbing you of your sleep, your smile, and your spirit. That's not love, that's emotional turbulence. Real love gives you calm, not confusion. It gives you comfort, not chaos. It gives you clarity, not questions. Sometimes we get so afraid of being alone that we start thinking any love is better than no love. But that's the biggest lie there is. You can't build a kingdom on confusion. You can't call pain a partnership. You can't label survival as love. Being alone for a season is better than begging for affection from someone who ain't even paying attention. And you know what's funny? The moment you stop begging, people start noticing your value. The minute you pull your energy back, the same folks who were ignoring you suddenly act like they miss you. But by then, You should be too healed to go back because you realize peace feels better than pleading. You realize you can't be both the chaser and the chosen one. Real love is partnership, not pity, not pressure, not pain. It's two people choosing each other willingly. You're not pulling someone along, you're walking side by side. You're not begging them to see your worth. They see it, they honor it, they protect it. That's what love is supposed to look like. I want you to think about this when you love somebody. It should bring out the best in you. It should make you feel alive, appreciated, and understood. You should feel seen, not invisible. If you have to keep reminding somebody that you exist in their life, that's not love, that's loneliness with company. So here's the truth, stop begging for love and start becoming the kind of person who doesn't settle for less than they deserve. Because the one meant for you won't need convincing. They'll recognize your value right away. They'll see the light in you and know it's rare. You won't have to play small to make them comfortable. You won't have to explain why you deserve respect. You won't have to chase them because they'll already be walking toward you. I know it hurts to let go of someone you wanted to stay. I know it's painful to admit that love isn't enough when effort is missing. But sometimes walking away is the only way to find peace again. You can't force someone to choose you. You can only choose yourself. And when you do, that's when life starts changing, because when you finally stop begging, you stop believing in yourself, in your worth, in your future. So here's my advice. Stop auditioning for a love you've already earned just by being who you are. Stop performing for people who don't even deserve a ticket to your show. Stop lowering your standards to fit into spaces that were never meant for your spirit. Real love doesn't require begging. It requires boundaries. It requires faith. It requires the courage to walk away from almost so you can receive abundance. Because love that's real won't make you feel like you're asking for too much. It'll make you wonder why you ever settled for so little. And when that day comes, when you find that kind of love, you'll look back and thank God you stopped begging. You'll realize you were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong person. So if you're listening to this and you've been begging somebody to stay, take this as your sign. Stop. Your peace is too expensive. Your worth is too high. Your heart is too precious. Real love don't need convincing. When it's real, it just shows up and stays. And baby, that's the kind of love you deserve. Let me tell you something, because a lot of people don't realize this until it's too late. The moment you start begging for love, you turn it into a transaction. You stop being a partner and start being a pleaser. And love, real love, ain't supposed to feel like you're running a business deal. It's not supposed to be, I'll do this for you so you'll stay, or maybe if I give more, they'll finally love me back. Baby, love don't work on exchange rates. It works on connection, not currency. See, what happens is you start off giving from your heart. You're kind, you're loyal, you're genuine, but when you're dealing with someone who doesn't value you, they start treating your love like it's a discount store. Everything you give, they expect more. And before you know it, you're offering, buy one, get one free, deals on your peace, your time, and your dignity. You're running a sale on your soul just to keep somebody who don't even want to pay full price. That's what begging for love does. It turns something sacred into something conditional. You start chasing validation instead of being cherished. You start saying things like, if I just prove how much I love them, they'll see it. No, they won't, because love that needs convincing is love that was never real to begin with. You can't convince somebody to love you right. You can't talk a selfish person into becoming selfless. You can't teach a person with no emotional maturity how to care the way you do. They either have it or they don't. And the more you try to earn what should be freely given, the more you drain yourself dry. Now listen, I've seen people stay in relationships that were nothing but emotional debt. One person keeps giving and the other keeps taking. No reciprocity, no balance, no appreciation. It's like you're paying love taxes and you're the only one getting billed. Every time you beg for their attention, their time, their respect, you're making a deposit in an account that ain't even in your name. And when that relationship finally breaks, you're left bankrupt. Emotionally, mentally, sometimes even spiritually. I'll tell you something I've learned over the years. When you beg for love, you don't just lose the relationship, you lose yourself in the process. You start lowering your price tag because someone told you you're too expensive. You start thinking, maybe I am asking for too much. But no, you're not asking for too much, you're just asking the wrong person. The right one won't make you feel guilty for wanting consistency, loyalty, or effort. That's the bare minimum, not a luxury package. See, here's what begging really does. It trains people how to treat you. You teach them that they can give you crumbs, and you'll call it a feast. You teach them that they can disappear for days, and you'll still be waiting when they return. You teach them that they can hurt you, and all they have to do is say, sorry. And everything's back to normal. But baby, sorry. Without change is manipulation, not repentance. When you beg, you put yourself in a position of powerlessness. You become addicted to the hope that they'll finally see your worth, and in that addiction, you start losing sight of your own reflection. You wake up one day realizing you've built your identity around someone else's approval. That's not love, that's emotional captivity. Love shouldn't feel like a negotiation. You shouldn't be out here trying to convince somebody to text you, call you, commit to you, or treat you right. Because real love doesn't have to be sold. It's seen. You don't have to beg someone who's emotionally invested in you. They're already showing up without being asked. They're already matching your energy because they want to, not because you begged them to. Let me say this to every person who's been begging for attention from someone who keeps giving excuses. Stop making effort optional for people who claim to love you. Love without effort is empty. And if you're the only one doing the emotional heavy lifting, then you're not in a relationship. You're in a performance. You're playing all the roles, lover, forgiver, rescuer, while the other person's sitting in the audience clapping when it's convenient. You can't keep auditioning for a part that was never meant for you. Because here's the truth, real love doesn't require begging, it requires believing. Believing in yourself enough to walk away when you're being undervalued. Believing that the right person will never make you question your worth. Believing that peace is worth more than presence. And let's get this straight, you can't buy love with loyalty. You can't purchase commitment with sacrifice. You can't barter respect with your pain. When you keep giving in the hopes that someone will finally reciprocate, you're making emotional payments on a house that was never yours to begin with. You're building a home in someone else's heart while they're out there renting space in yours. That's why you keep ending up heartbroken. Because you're trying to secure a place in someone's life who only sees you as temporary shelter. The day you stop begging is the day you start healing. The moment you say, I'm done forcing it, something in you changes. Your spirit gets lighter. Your heart starts breathing again. You realize that love shouldn't make you feel small. It shouldn't make you feel anxious, uncertain, or afraid to speak your truth. Love should make you feel safe. See, the right person will never have you questioning your position. You won't have to wonder if you're enough. You won't have to compete with distractions or prove that you matter. You won't have to beg for consistency because it'll be natural. You won't have to explain why you deserve to be loved the way you love. They'll already get it. That's what real love feels like. Peaceful, balanced, free. But to get there, you got to stop trading your self-worth for temporary affection. You got to stop thinking that settling for less keeps you from being lonely. Loneliness with peace is still better than company with confusion. Because nothing's lonelier than sleeping next to someone who's already emotionally left the room. I remember a time I told a young lady on my show, you're not asking for too much, you're just asking the wrong person. And she looked at me like nobody had ever said that to her before. Because society makes you believe that if you're not chosen, you're not valuable. But that's wrong. Sometimes rejection is protection. Sometimes being left is God's way of clearing space for better. Sometimes you're not losing love, you're losing the version of yourself that settled for less than you deserve. And here's something important. Stop thinking that love is about proving you're worthy. You already are. Love doesn't make you valuable. It recognizes your value. If someone can't see your worth, that's not your fault. Don't keep shrinking to fit inside a heart that was never big enough to hold you. When you beg for love, you start to believe that love is earned by struggle. You think pain is proof of passion. But let me tell you, real love don't hurt like that. Real love might challenge you, but it doesn't destroy you. It doesn't demand that you give up your peace, your dreams, or your dignity to stay. The people meant for you will never require you to beg for their presence. They'll be consistent, they'll communicate, and they'll care. Not because you beg them to, but because that's who they are. That's the difference between connection and convenience. Convenient people show up when they want something. Connected people show up because they want you. So if you find yourself constantly begging for love, take a step back and ask yourself, what am I really getting out of this? Am I growing or am I just surviving? Am I being loved or am I being used? Because if you're doing all the giving and still feeling empty, that's not love. That's emotional debt. And you can't build forever with someone who treats you like an option. Stop offering discounts on a heart that was designed to be priceless. Stop begging for what should be a blessing, not a bargain. You don't have to prove your worth, you just have to remember it. The right one won't make you earn love with exhaustion. Ever give it freely, consistently, and wholeheartedly. And when you finally stop begging, something powerful happens. You start seeing your own value again. You start realizing that the kind of love you want starts with you. You stop pouring into empty cups and start filling your own. You stop chasing validation and start attracting appreciation. Because the truth is, begging might keep someone for a while, but it'll never make them stay. You can't force connection, and you can't bribe love. The moment you have to beg for what should be natural, that's the moment you know it's time to walk away. Real love doesn't have to be bargained for or begged out of somebody. Real love stands tall on its own 2 feet and says, I choose you. Not because of what you do, but because of who you are. That's the kind of love that lasts. That's the kind of love you deserve. And that's the kind of love that'll never make you feel like you got to trade your peace for presents. So stop making love a transaction. Start making it a standard. Because once you set that standard, you'll never beg again. Let me tell you something that might just change the way you see love. Love is supposed to build you, not break you down. It's supposed to lift you up, not tear you apart. If you find yourself crying more than you're smiling, questioning more than you're believing, losing yourself more than you're growing, that's not love, baby. That's struggle disguised as affection. Somewhere along the line, people started thinking love is supposed to hurt. They started romanticizing pain. Oh, if I fight for them long enough, they'll change. No, they won't. If someone's love keeps breaking you, it's not love, it's emotional confusion. Love was never meant to be survival. It was meant to be sanctuary. When it's real, love should be like a mirror. It reflects the best version of you back to yourself. It makes you feel stronger, not smaller. But too many people are in relationships where they can't even recognize themselves anymore. You look in the mirror and see someone tired, drained, anxious, someone who's lost their glow. You used to laugh easy, now you cry quietly. You used to walk tall, now you tiptoe around someone's moves just to keep the peace. That ain't love, that's captivity. See, when you beg for love that's breaking you, you're telling yourself that pain is proof of passion. But it's not. Real love don't hurt like that. Real love is patient. Real love is gentle. Real love makes you feel safe. And you can't heal in a relationship where you're constantly being wounded. Some of y'all are trying to heal in the same place that broke you, hoping if you love harder, they'll stop hurting you. But baby, you can't heal where you're being harmed. You can't build peace with someone who profits from your pain. If every time you try to talk, it turns into an argument, if every time you open up, they shut down, if every time you forgive, they repeat the same mistake, that's not love, that's emotional labor with no paycheck. Love should add to you, not subtract from you. It should multiply your joy, not divide your peace. And if it's breaking you down, maybe God's trying to show you something, that you can't fix someone who doesn't see a problem. You can't carry a relationship by yourself. You can't love someone into being whole when they're committed to staying broken. I've met people who said, Steve, I stayed because I believed in their potential. And I tell them, that's your first mistake. You fell in love with potential, not reality. You can't build a future with someone who's comfortable living in the past. You can't keep pouring into someone who pokes holes in your peace. When love is real, it doesn't make you choose between your joy and their presence. It allows both to exist at the same time. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a garden. You water it, you feed it, you nurture it, and it grows. That's what real love is supposed to do. It's two people taking care of each other's hearts like soil and seed. But when you're in a relationship that breaks you, it's like you're watering a dead plant. No matter how much you give, nothing grows. And the saddest part, you start thinking something's wrong with you. You start wondering, maybe I'm not enough. But let me tell you something right now. You were enough before they even showed up. You're just giving your best to someone who can't recognize it. Love should build your confidence, not crush it. It should make you feel chosen, not tolerated. When someone really loves you, you don't have to question where you stand. You don't have to beg for reassurance or attention. They make it clear. They show up, not just when it's convenient, but when it's crucial. But when love starts breaking you, it starts in small ways. You start making excuses for disrespect. You start accepting silence as peace. You start pretending you're happy just to avoid arguments. You start walking on eggshells instead of walking in freedom. That's how you lose yourself slowly, not in one big heartbreak, but in 1,000 tiny disappointments you pretend don't hurt. And one day you wake up and realize you're not you anymore. You're a version of yourself that learned how to survive someone else's neglect. But that's not what you were created for. You weren't designed to beg for peace. You weren't meant to feel invisible in a place that should have been your home. Love should empower you. It should make you feel like you can conquer the world, not like you're constantly trying to recover from yesterday. The right love will make you better. It'll sharpen you, inspire you, stretch you in healthy ways. The wrong love will drain you, confuse you, and make you doubt your worth. So you have to ask yourself, is this love building me or is it breaking me? Because love that breaks you isn't love. It's a lesson. And sometimes the lesson hurts, but it's necessary. Sometimes God lets your heart break to wake your soul up. Because he knows if that pain didn't shake you, you'd still be settling for less. You got to understand, walking away from love that's breaking you isn't failure. It's freedom. It's choosing peace over pain. It's saying, I love me enough to let go of what's killing me. That's real strength right there. Staying where you're not valued isn't loyalty. It's self-betrayal. You can't keep rescuing someone who's comfortable drowning. I know it's not easy. I know letting go hurts. Because when you love deeply, you hold on with hope. You say, maybe if I just wait a little longer, they'll change. But hope without evidence is heartbreak in disguise. If nothing changes, then nothing changes. Love doesn't require perfection, but it does require effort. And if you're the only one trying, that's not a relationship. That's a performance. Stop breaking your back to fix what's meant to fall apart. Sometimes love expires, and that's okay. You can love somebody and still know they're not good for your peace. You can care for them and still recognize they're not capable of caring for you the same way. That's maturity, knowing when to love from a distance. When love is right, you'll feel it in your spirit. You'll rest easier. You'll smile more. You'll feel seen, supported, respected. You won't be constantly explaining your feelings or begging for attention. Because love that builds you doesn't require you to suffer first. It teaches, it comforts, it protects. And here's the thing, when love is real, it's not perfect. It'll still challenge you. It'll still test your patience, but it'll never destroy you. You'll argue, but you'll heal. You'll disagree, but you'll still respect each other. You'll both choose growth, not games. That's the difference. Love that builds you wants to see you become your best self. Love that breaks you wants to keep you dependent, insecure, and small. So if you find yourself constantly apologizing for being you, constantly explaining your needs, constantly trying to earn love, you're in the wrong place. The right person will celebrate you, not silence you. They'll push you to grow, not guilt you for wanting more. They'll speak life into you, not drain it out. They'll make you feel seen, not scrutinized. That's love that builds. You deserve a love that feels like peace, not pressure. You deserve a partner who's proud to love you, not one who hides you. You deserve a connection that makes you feel secure, not scared. You deserve to wake up every day knowing you're valued, not wondering if you're enough. And once you experience that kind of love, that mature, healing, honest love, you'll never settle for the kind that breaks you again. Because you'll know the difference between being chosen and being used. You'll know what it feels like to be prioritized, not tolerated. So don't be afraid to walk away from what breaks you. Don't be afraid to start over. You ain't starting from scratch. You're starting from wisdom. Every heartbreak, every tear, every disappointment taught you something. It built you. You might have lost love, but you found you. And that's the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. Because once you learn how to build yourself back up, nobody will ever be able to break you down again. Love should build you, not break you. It should remind you of your power, not make you question. It should make you feel whole, not half. Because when love is right, it heals everything that broke before it. That's the love you deserve, and the love that will never require you to beg, shrink, or suffer just to keep it. Let's get something straight right out the gate. Walking away ain't weakness. It's its power, it's courage wrapped in peace. It's choosing your dignity over someone's inconsistency. It's looking at the situation, looking at the pain and saying, you know what? I deserve better than this. That right there, that's strength. Because anybody can stay and suffer, but it takes a real one to stand up and walk away when love stops feeling like love. See, too many people stay where they don't belong because they're afraid of being alone. They confuse attachment with love. But love that change you ain't love. It's bondage. And some of y'all been locked up emotionally for years, waiting for a pearl that's never coming. You keep thinking they'll change. You keep believing one more chance will make a difference. But if someone has shown you repeatedly who they are, you got to stop arguing with the evidence. The power of walking away is not about pride. It's about peace. It's not about egos and energy. You only got so much energy in a day. And if all of it is going to fixing what keeps breaking, you won't have anything left to build yourself. And baby, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give peace to someone who feeds off chaos. You can't heal in a place that keeps hurting you. You got to learn when to let go. Because holding on too long is how people lose themselves. You start out trying to love somebody, then you end up babysitting their insecurities, managing their moods, defending their disrespect, and explaining why your standards aren't too high. Let me tell you something. If someone calls your peace too much, that's because they're used to confusion. If they call your boundaries attitude, that's because they're used to control. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for knowing your worth. When you walk away, you're not just leaving them. You're reclaiming you. You're taking your heart off the clearance rack and putting it back where it belongs, behind the glass with a handle with care sign on it, because your love is valuable. Your time, your energy, your loyalty. That's premium stuff. And you can't keep giving premium love to people with discount intentions. Now, I get it, walking away is hard, especially when you love deep. You remember the good moments, the laugh, the promises. You keep hoping the person you fell for will come back. But sometimes the hardest truth to accept is that they're gone. Or maybe they were never really there the way you needed them to be. You were showing up in full color, and they were loving you in black and white. You were all in, and they were halfway out. And the moment you realize that, that's the moment you start to heal. The power of walking away is about saying, I don't have to beg for what's meant for me. Because what's truly yours won't make you chase it endlessly. It won't make you compete with your own peace. It won't require you to shrink, settle, or silence yourself just to stay. The right person won't run from your standards. They'll rise to meet them. Let's be real. Sometimes you got to walk away not because they're a bad person, but because they're not the right person for your growth. Love can be real and still not be right. Timing can be off. Values can clash. Priorities can differ. And forcing something that doesn't fit only breaks it faster. You can't make someone ready for the love you're built to give. See, when you walk away, it's not just about leaving them. It's about moving towards something better. Peace, clarity, healing. You start to remember who you are again. You start laughing without checking if it's okay. You start sleeping better. You start doing things for yourself. That's the beauty of release. It creates space for joy to return. And let me tell you, that moment when you stop chasing and start choosing yourself, that's when everything changes. You realize you never lost love. You lost confusion. You never lost peace. You lost drama. You never lost someone who saw your worth. You lost someone who didn't know how to handle it. That's not a loss. That's a blessing in disguise. You got to learn that walking away is not giving up. It's leveling up. It's saying, I've outgrown this version of pain. It's saying, I choose my peace over their potential. It's saying, I deserve a love that doesn't require me to suffer first. That's elevation. That's growth. That's you finally stepping into your power. Now, when you walk away, people might not understand it. They might call you cold, heartless, or selfish. But you know what? That's okay. Because those same people didn't live your nights of confusion. They didn't cry your tears. They didn't carry your anxiety or silence your spirit. So they don't get to judge your healing. Walking away doesn't mean you stopped loving them. It means you started loving you. It means you realized that your heart deserves rest. It means you accepted that you can't fix what doesn't want to be fixed. You can't save someone who enjoys being broken. And you sure can't teach someone how to love when they're committed to playing games. Let's talk truth. Peace is expensive, but it's worth every ounce of effort. When you finally walk away from what drains you, you make room for what fulfills you. You open doors you didn't even know existed. You stop attracting pain and start attracting purpose. Because your energy changes, your standards change, your whole aura starts glowing different. You start moving like somebody who knows what they deserve and the world responds to that. And here's the thing, walking away doesn't always mean slamming doors. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's a soft exit, no argument, no announcement, no revenge. Just peace, just silence, just the decision that you won't be available for disrespect anymore. You don't owe closure to people who created chaos. Sometimes the closure is realizing they were never capable of giving you what you needed in the first place. When you walk away, you're sending a message to life itself. I'm ready for better. You're proving to yourself that you can survive what you thought would destroy you. You're showing the universe that you believe in your worth. And the moment you take that step, the right doors start opening. Because the kind of peace that comes after walking away from what's breaking you, that's a different kind of freedom. That's peace that lets you breathe again. Now, I won't lie. The first few weeks after walking away can hurt. It feels empty. You miss the routine. You miss the idea of what it could have been. But that pain, that's just detox. You're not missing love. You're missing the habit of chaos. You're not craving them. You're craving the comfort of what was familiar. But once the detox clears, you'll start to see clearly. You'll start to realize that losing them wasn't the worst thing staying would have been. Walking away means you trust that life still has more for you. It means you believe in new beginnings. You believe that peace is possible. You believe that love can exist without pain. And that belief, that's what pulls you through. And let me tell you, the day will come when you look back and thank yourself for walking away. You'll thank yourself for not begging. You'll thank yourself for choosing peace. Because you'll see how far you've come. You'll see that the love you wanted from them was really the love you were meant to give yourself. So don't you dare feel guilty for protecting your peace. Don't apologize for outgrowing people who were comfortable with your pain. Don't explain your boundaries to those who benefit from breaking them. Walking away is not bitterness. It's wisdom. It's self-respect in motion. If they can live without you, you can live without them. If they stop showing up, stop waiting. If they didn't value you, don't chase them. God removes people for a reason. Some people are lessons, not lifetimes. They were there to teach you how to love yourself better. So the next time you feel guilty for walking away, remember this peace is your proof that you made the right choice. Because real love won't cost you your sanity. Real love won't drain your spirit. Real love won't ask you to sacrifice your worth. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Just pack your peace, pick up your dignity, and walk out with your head high. Because you don't owe anyone your misery. You owe yourself your happiness. And one day, when real love finds you, that calm, mature, steady love, you'll realize why you had to walk away. Because peace is the prize that comes after pain. Walking away isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your healing. Let me tell you something straight up. You deserve effort, not excuses. Don't let nobody convince you that bare minimum behavior is love. It ain't. Effort is love in motion. Effort is what turns words into action, promises into reality, and I love you into I'm showing up for you. You can't build a healthy relationship on potential and apologies. You build it on effort. Now, I know some of y'all been hanging on to people who talk real good. Oh, they got the gift of speech. They can apologize with poetry. They can tell you, I'm going to do better, with a tear in their eye and a hand on their chest. But then what happens? A week later, it's the same behavior, the same disappointment, the same pain, just wrapped in new words. Listen, love doesn't live in words alone. It lives in consistent effort. See, when someone values you, you don't have to keep reminding them how to treat you. They just do it. You don't have to beg them to call, to show up, to be kind, to care. They do it because your presence matters to them. Because effort is the language of love, and excuses. Excuses are the language of convenience. Let me break it down. Effort says, I'll make it happen. Excuses say, I'll try when it's easy. Effort says, I'll adjust my time to make you feel seen. Excuses say, I've just been busy. Effort finds a way. Excuses find a reason. And baby, the moment you start accepting excuses as effort, you teach people that your love is negotiable. Now I've seen people, good-hearted folks, stay in relationships for years believing that one day those excuses would turn into effort. They just need time. They've been through a lot. I know they love me deep down. Listen, deep down ain't enough. If love doesn't show up on the surface, it's just potential energy. And potential without performance, that's pain. You deserve somebody who shows you they care, not someone who keeps explaining why they can't. Don't let anybody keep telling you, I didn't mean to. I forgot. It slipped my mind. When what they really mean is, it wasn't important enough to me, because people make time for what they value. Period. I don't care how busy they are. If they care, they'll call. If they respect you, they'll show up. If they love you, you'll feel it in their effort, not just hear it in their talk. Because when someone truly wants you in their life, they don't leave you guessing. They don't make you question where you stand. Some of y'all are in relationships where you're working harder than both of you combined. You're texting first, apologizing first, checking in first, fixing problems they caused. And you're still wondering, why do I feel so unloved? It's because you're carrying the whole relationship on your back while they're sitting comfortably in excuses. That's not love. That's labor. You shouldn't have to chase peace in a relationship. You shouldn't have to beg for the bare minimum. Respect, attention, honesty, consistency. If you got to remind somebody to treat you right, that's not a partnership, that's parenting. And let me say this, effort doesn't mean perfection. Nobody's perfect. We all mess up, we all get tired, we all fall short sometimes. But when someone truly loves you, even their effort to make things right feels different. They don't just say, sorry. They show they're sorry. They don't repeat the same behavior expecting forgiveness like it's on tap. They grow. They adjust. They do better because they don't want to lose you. Effort is about showing up when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when they'd rather do something else, but they choose you anyway. That's love. Effort is sacrifice. Effort is intentional. It's saying, I might not have it all figured out, but I'm willing to try for you. That's what builds a relationship that lasts. But when you let excuses slide, you teach people that comfort comes before commitment. And soon, they stop trying altogether. Because why would they? If you accept less, they'll give less. Effort stops when accountability disappears. So you got to set the standard early. You got to say, if you want access to me, it requires effort. Because your time, your energy, your love, those are blessings. Not everybody deserves them. Stop giving out your heart to people who can't even give you consistency. And here's what's real. Some people can do better. They just don't have to, because you've made it too easy. You've been understanding to the point of exhaustion. You've been patient past the point of peace. You've been forgiving past the point of sanity. You keep accepting excuses because you love them. But every time you do, you teach them that you'll stay no matter how little they try. And let me tell you, love without effort will drain you dry. It'll make you start questioning yourself. Maybe I'm asking for too much. No, you're not. You're asking for the basics. Love that doesn't come with effort ain't love. It's laziness. It's someone enjoying your loyalty without giving you the same in return. Effort is proof of care. Excuses are proof of comfort. And you can't grow a relationship in comfort. Growth takes work. So if someone can't match your energy, stop dimming your light to fit their darkness. If they wanted to, they would. That's not harsh, that's truth. Now, I know it's hard to walk away from someone you see potential in. You tell yourself, maybe they just need a little more time. But how much more time? Another month, another year, another decade? At some point, you got to stop building for two. You got to realize that love is a partnership, not a project. You can't build both people by yourself. And when you finally let go of someone who only gives excuses, your life starts to shift. You start to breathe again. You stop overthinking every text. Stop replaying every argument. Because peace returns when effort leaves the wrong hands. You start to realize that real love won't make you guess. Real love is consistent. Let me put it like this. If you plant a seed and it never grows, you don't keep watering the dirt forever. You realize that maybe the seed was never healthy to begin with. Maybe it wasn't planted right. Maybe it just wasn't meant to grow. Same thing with people. If you've been pouring your love into someone and nothing's blooming, maybe it's not your watering. Maybe it's their soil. And here's the truth that'll set you free. You're not hard to love. You're just tired of explaining how. The right person won't need a manual to treat you right. They want to. They'll pay attention. They'll show effort not because you asked, but because they value you. Effort is a reflection of respect. Excuses are a reflection of priorities. So if they're always too busy, too distracted, too tired, what they're really saying is, you're not a priority. And that's fine, but stop making them one in your life. You deserve someone who texts you first, someone who keeps their promises, someone who shows up not just when it's convenient, but when it's critical, someone who listens when you speak, remembers the small things, and never makes you feel like an option. That's love built on effort. So stop settling for potential when you deserve performance. Stop tolerating promises that never turn into proof. You deserve the kind of love that shows up, that's dependable, that feels safe. Because let me tell you, when love is real, you won't have to chase it. You won't have to beg for attention or clarity. Effort will come naturally because real love doesn't want to lose you. It wants to earn you every single day. And when you finally experience that kind of love, all those excuses you used to tolerate will make you laugh. You look back and say, I can't believe I accepted that. Because effort changes everything. The person who truly loves you will never let you question their place in your life. They'll prove it in consistency, in communication, in care. That's what you deserve. That's what love looks like. So hear me clearly, stop falling for words and start watching actions. Because talk without effort is manipulation. But effort is love made visible. And the moment you decide that you're no longer accepting excuses, the universe shifts. You start attracting people who match your energy, who mirror your love, who bring peace instead of problems. Because you finally understand that you are worthy of effort every single day. So don't settle for maybe or someday. You deserve now. You deserve real. You deserve consistent. Because the person who truly wants you won't just say it. They'll show it. And when they do, you'll know the difference between effort and excuses forever.